Joe is a very good, nice Catholic Christian, a beautiful person who will never ever lie. And we had a guy who lied more than 30,000 times in 4 years. Thank you. Joe is a very good, nice. Pardon me?
Biden is a sissy.
Well, you are allowed to have your own opinion, but he had a majority, and now you will say it was stolen. That's okay. I think I don't have to talk politics. I will die very peacefully. Thank you. Bye.
He is very emotional like you, Padmalingam.
You know, Padmalingam, with all your influence, why didn't you get your cardiologist son appointed as the physician to the White House? Because he has appointed the GP.
He has better cardiologists. And my son, I will now that you brought my son in, my son was voted the cardiologist of the year in the city of Fort Wayne, Indiana, in the year 2020. He's here only for so many years, and he has been already voted the cardiologist.
Are you ready to start?
I can keep on boasting about Padmalingam. I don't want to. My wife had been a professor of pediatrics, Jefferson Medical School, for 13 years. With that, I will end. I think we can keep on boasting, but I believe in the Lord. The Lord continues to bless all of us.
Amen.
I hope not Trump here.
Which is the new point.
Okay.
Let me stop talking about
Okay. We'll talk a little more. Okay. Yeah, Maruf, are we ready to start?
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, take this Maruf.
Yes.
Yeah, take. Yeah, Maya, take the thing off. Let's have the full screen, and so that everyone can see everyone.
Yeah. I'm just putting it across to tell you the times.
Yeah, no need to screen share. Okay, I got the agenda on my side. Okay, so let's start the meeting. I don't know who else is coming. You know, as you all know, Patrick Chelea, our batchmate, passed away 3 days ago. He has been ailing for some time. Actually, I saw him in my last visit to the UK. That's about 2 years ago. He lived somewhere in the south of London, on the London-Kent border. Kent, right? In Kent, yeah. And he had Parkinson's. I had dinner with him when I went last time. And he was really, he had a lot of muscular issues relating to Parkinson's. And his mobility was not very good, but he was in good spirits. He was very happy, and we had a good laugh and had a nice dinner. He was hospitalized with some GI issues. Possibly they suspect infarct, a mesenteric infarct, and he passed away. I spoke to the wife. The funeral arrangements have not been finalized, but they said they will let me know. He has one son, David, who is also a doctor. And, if you want to send messages to the family, you can send it to David. I'll put his email on the line. It's dchelea@aol.com.
Can you send it on the WhatsApp group, please?
Yes, I will do that. And, many of us.
The number that I had and it didn't work.
Beg your pardon?
I was trying to call the numbers he had.
I'll send the family number is a little difficult to get at, but I will put it on the WhatsApp group. So, and I also sent to the son and the wife all the messages you had put on our group. I forwarded that to the family. Actually, the son was looking for a photograph. If any of you have photographs of his, put it up on the WhatsApp group and we can send it out. I'll put the details of his contact on the WhatsApp group.
We got a photo.
There was a nice one that you put in there. Yeah.
Karunian, didn't you see it on? I had put one picture.
Yes.
Group picture,
Yes, and I saw that. Yeah. So let's have a moment of silence, and then let's have our own memories of him before we go on. Just a small memory of silence in his. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, does anyone want to, I think the people in the A batch were all very quite close. We did all our appointments with them. Anyone want to say anything?
Patrick, I'm Patmalingam. Patrick had been a very good friend of mine, and I think for a while he was also a Brodyite. And I think um, he's one of the nicest person you could ever have as a friend. I think what a beautiful person he was. I think he had some tragedy also in the family in his first year of medical school. I don't want to even talk about it. And I wish the wife and the son and the family the very best during these hard times.
I was with him in Bloemfontein. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Bloemfontein, and then when we were first taken as a freshers there, we had to put up a show, all the freshers, including Padmalingam. Padmalingam, myself, and Patrick. And Patrick was he was the thinnest person around. So I suggested that he should pose himself as Charles Atlas, the big body missile. So he took like this, and he was all stick around. It's like a box of matches. It was fun. he was fun loving, and he was always smiling person.
Yeah,
Can I say something, please? Since everybody seems to know Patrick Chalaya and what a gentleman he was, now, since he has passed away from Parkinson, should we make a contribution? In UK, we have a Parkinson Society. Some of us donate money. Should we donate money in his name? Just a suggestion.
Yeah,
No,
we have the same type
I
of
can.
thing in USA also. We have a association for Parkinsonism.
Yeah, Shanti, what I will do is I will talk to the son
Yes,
and
please.
the
Yes.
family. I will call them today, and I will also email. I think I will.
It would have been nice if
email.
one of them came to this meeting. That would have been
Yeah.
good. But I didn't have the number, unfortunately.
I don't know. I have the son's number. I can call him and ask.
Call him now
while
and see if he can join.
Probably,
Actually, I thought about it and called him.
Yeah,
But
Narada.
Yeah.
Vikram Surya, is he still in London?
No. He left London about nearly 30 years ago. He was in Sri Lanka. He was practicing in Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Hi.
All right.
Yeah. The batchmates are having a little Zoom chat group and a chat, and we are talking about your dad. Would you like to join?
Just for 5 minutes or something.
Yeah. We'll send you a link. Hold on. Yeah, I spoke to the son. He's on the line. He can join. Can you forward the link?
Yeah, I don't have his number. Why don't you forward it to him?
Yeah, 1 minute.
From your WhatsApp,
email,
you just forward the message. It has the link.
Yeah, I'll email the link. Yeah. I'll email
Not
the link.
email.
Okay.
Either you send it on WhatsApp. Easier.
Yeah, I'll send it on WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp. Yeah, I'll forward it. Okay. Hold on 1 minute.
Padmalingam,
Yes.
do you know what happened to Tony Vikramasinghe?
To be
Interesting
honest,
question.
Comment.
Comment.
You know, Tony, I knew when I was in New York in the 80s, in the 70s, he was doing anesthesia in Colombia. Then I was told he went to Florida.
Is he still alive?
Don't know.
I think I might have met him in New York about 35 years ago. I think I lost contact.
Ranjit, are you on your treadmill?
No. I just listen.
Morning.
Patrick has been in a lot of places because he was boarded in number 105th lane, about 3 houses next to our house. So we used to get a lift from Lal during lunchtime.
That's Patrick.
Patrick came to Blom. I was in Blom. And then all of us were kicked out of Blom. Did you get it? Okay, all right, fine. You join when you can. Yeah, brush up and take your time. There's no urgency. Yeah, okay, thanks. So he's going to join us. But just to give his history, you know, I didn't know him, but I met him in medical school, and he joined Blom in the second MB, along with I think Padmalingam and maybe some of you here, you know, Maruf. And then in the third year, we all got kicked out. We were thrown out of Blom, and we were on the road. And that is the time when we all were looking for places to stay. And we stayed in different places. And then somewhere in the middle of the fourth year, some of us went back to Blomfontein.
Brody.
So
Sam will tell you how he pushed your scooter.
Yeah. So Nalin is here on the line. Nalin had a scooter that worked. I had a scooter that worked 50% of the time. And so Nalin and Sam and I and Patrick used to go to medical school together. And Patrick was my roommate. He roomed with me. We shared a room together. And as you all knew, he was a very gentlemanly guy. Wouldn't hurt anyone. You know, never had a bad word or never got upset. If he did, you know, he just was a wonderful roommate to have. Very tolerant and very adaptive and very nice. And we used to study together. And we all studied together. And then afterwards, our paths, after medical school, our paths diverged, but I was in touch with him off and on. You know, another guy, anyway, I was in touch with him. And the Brody crowd, you know, included, you know, people who got thrown out included Maruf, Padmalingam.
Why me first at that
Middle of the
time?
night, we were put on the road. We spent one night on the clock tower, under the clock tower.
Vanasinghe was there in the clock tower.
Vanasinghe. Sam,
Article came in his car and said,
Soisa and Nalin also came to Brody, right? Nalin?
Yeah. Nalin and Soisa were there.
Hey, Nalin?
They were roommates. Bobby Amarasingam.
Yeah.
My roommate.
Bobby.
Hi, Srima, after a long time.
Hello.
Okay, so by the way, okay.
Hi, Srima.
Hello.
I just want to tell you, for the next meeting, either on February 27th or on the 20th, Bobby's son has agreed to give a presentation, okay, on the future practice of medicine and the future of medical education. And it is essentially the intersection of medicine and big data, computers, and iPhone and so on. Okay. So,
did you tell that startup? That's a startup, isn't it?
Well, he started a company that is now, you know, used maybe 10 years ago or 8 years ago. So it is beyond the startup. Huh?
It must be running into millions.
Yeah. He's a medical doctor, businessman, all kinds of stuff. But his ideas are what a lot of people are transforming, because the question is, can you really
Predict.
number one, you can predict the diseases and manage the diseases, because in a sense, we as doctors are also into the predictive business. We go and see a patient and say he's going to get bad and then intervene. So he's saying those are better done with computers, is what his theory is, but at least listen to him. But while you are waiting for Patrick's son to join, do you think we should go forward or wait for him?
Go forward.
Go forward, yeah.
I think
Okay,
so.
so Maruf's the agenda item is COVID on the march, right?
Yeah. And sort of in various parts, it's behaving differently, but there is a lot of common things we need to know about. But unfortunately, Don Banda is not around, so let me find out whether it's coming or not.
Okay, so let's start, and we'll welcome Patrick's son and give him my condolences at that time. The first.
Karunian, can
Yeah.
I ask you something?
Sure.
If David Chalaya comes, would it be possible to ask him about donation towards the Parkinson Society, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah, we can. If it does come, we will.
Yeah.
And we will all say our own impressions,
Sure.
and tell him he doesn't know us at all. So anyway, if he does come, what is the agenda? 1 minute.
Start with US.
The relentless march of COVID-19. Shall we start with UK and then come to US?
Okay.
Because, Narada, you want to go first, Mayan? The relentless march of...
I have really nothing very much to say, but anyway, can I share the screen?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is ready. You can share.
How do you do that? I share
So
screen.
click on the green button.
Yeah,
Share screen.
and the screen.
And then you click on the blue border line comes. That will take you to your desktop. Then you as if you are choosing that is your desktop.
iCloud Drive, Dropbox, Photos, Microsoft Share.
No, click on the green button first.
Yeah. Click on the green button.
Yes. Then it should come up now. Double click.
No.
Like this here. Can you see? Now it is.
No, I have lost the whole thing.
No, it's okay.
Right.
Look. Now when you have to click once, and then it will come up, and then see now it is sharing from mine. Now you can share at the same time. I close this and it will come.
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
At least you can see him.
When you put the green button, then you get a which says screen, photos, iCloud Drive.
Yeah. You put the your desktop. There will be a blue box. You click inside the blue box. Keep the blue box on your desktop.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, desktop, Dropbox.
Yeah, desktop. Get to the desktop. Click on it, double click on it, click inside that. There is a blue box.
There is no desktop on this. No whiteboard, bookmark, white.
No. On the share screen. First, open the share screen.
Yes.
Click on share screen. When you do like that, now I have done that. You don't see it now. And I have on my thing, there is a white square in which there is another small blue rectangle inside. You must click inside the rectangle.
Okay.
Inside the blue rectangle. And that rectangle will tell you what is containing inside the rectangle. Click on it now. Now I click on it now. See, I do it now. See?
All right. Anyway, don't worry. You know, we have not, in UK, what we want to say is very, very little. I mean, the difference is there. One, of course, is to say that United Kingdom is the third largest, is the country that has the third largest amount of vaccinations done. Israel has done the most number of vaccinations. In Israel, 34% of their population has been vaccinated. Then second is the UAE, which has vaccinated 26% of the population, and UK is the third with 11% of their population. Now, in total, UK has given 8.36 million vaccinations so far. Of the 8.36 million vaccinations, the first dose, we have given 7.89 up till, I think, last Friday. And the second doses only nearly 500,000, 478,000. Yeah.
Narada, what's the vaccine?
Vaccine, we use a mixture of things. We started with the Pfizer. The Pfizer is the most used vaccine. Second is the AstraZeneca, because AstraZeneca was approved about 2 weeks after the Pfizer. And now I think we are just about to get other vaccines. Okay, so now just to compare, the most number of vaccines given for any country is US. US has given 26.19 million vaccines, but they have
7.9, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, but they have vaccinated only 7% of their population, because it's a big population compared to us is four times ours. Okay. The other thing I want to say about vaccination in UK. Now, there was a report, in fact, today's Times is published, which says the vaccines are slowing the spread of virus already. So vaccination is already easing Britain's COVID epidemic, with early data showing it is definitely reducing. And also, we can say that officially, now yesterday's figures show that yesterday they have given 414,419 vaccines, and our the number of admissions to the hospitals also dropping. Now, the last few days, it was over 30,000 admissions every day to the hospitals. Now it has dropped to 29,000. So it's dropping slowly. Everything, and also the intensive care admissions also has gone down from 5,000 something to, it's coming down slowly. So okay. You Vigneswarana, sorry, Vikram, yeah, you asked about the vaccines. Now, I have a record of the number of vaccines that UK bought. UK bought Pfizer, BioNTech, BioNTech, yes, and Moderna 17 million, AstraZeneca 100 million. These numbers are important. Now I'll tell you just.
Sam, you're not coming for the meeting.
These numbers are important because now, for example, Pfizer, UK bought 40 million.
Narada is here, and Ali is also connected, but no voice or anything like that. Check with him.
Yeah, Pfizer, UK bought 40 million, US bought 300 million, and EU bought 300 million. Moderna, UK bought 17 million, US bought 300 million, EU bought 160 million. AstraZeneca, UK bought 100 million, US 500 million, and EU 300 million. Why I am giving these numbers is, we have all bought vaccines all over the world, but there is a big shortage of vaccines. And our country UK is having a problem with our previous neighbors, this EU. EU is trying to block UK getting the vaccines. First of all, they are now blocking the Pfizer because the Pfizer is being manufactured in
Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium. That's right. They tried to put then the Pfizer, of course, I think wanted to go to court, and we said that we bought the vaccines 3 months before them. So really, it should be a commercial proposition, because if we paid for the 3 months ahead, we should get the vaccines more. But now EU was thinking of putting some sort of a license on it, so that vaccines cannot be exported from EU to other countries. But I think the latest about that is in today's papers is that EU is not going to proceed with it. But anyway, I think the EU countries are very upset with Britain because we have vaccinated over 10 million people already. And now France hasn't vaccinated even 1 million yet. And I think Germany has vaccinated about 2 million or something. So they are very upset. The problem, of course, is all these vaccines are biological products, and they have to be grown. And growing in big, huge vats take time. So that's why they have difficulty in producing vaccines fast enough to supply to the whole world. Okay. Yeah, I think
Narada, if you are using different vaccine, the first dose can be in one, the second dose will be the same thing or different vaccine.
That will be the same.
Yeah, originally they said that the first dose and the second dose has to be the same. Now there is now the British, because we have given 11 million vaccinations almost, and people are now looking into this, and they think that the second dose need not be the same. The other thing is now the latest information from vaccinations in this country is that Pfizer said that the second dose has to be given in 3 weeks. Now they are saying it's not necessary. In fact, if you delay the vaccine, the protection is better. I suppose the amount of antibodies and various things must be higher.
Memory.
Yeah, yes. They say in fact, but of course, the problem with Pfizer was that they did their trials only with the 3-week thing. They have not done with the longer. Yeah, so there are lots of still unanswered questions, but so that is.
Other thing is, Narada, for the Pfizer vaccine is $24 shot, whereas the other one is only $250.
That's correct. Yes, Pfizer is the most expensive. Other things are coming down. In fact, I
$250. The other one is $2.50.
Yes, that's right. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just nothing to do with COVID. I just want to give you something to think about. Because of COVID, the number of smokers in America has gone up, whereas the number of smokers in UK has gone down. Americans are saying they have more money because they are not going out, they are not driving so much, and they are smoking more.
What about fertility rate?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's about it from me.
Okay, now.
Is that result of Trumpism?
Okay, thank you. I think we'll have discussion on a number of questions, but just shortly, there is now a new study showing that COVID does interfere with male infertility. There is some new data to show that. And number two, on a more objective basis, the statistics are that the fertility rate, which was supposed to go up when there was shut-in and all that, did not go up. In fact, it decreased. So there's a little bit of a surprise, because normally when people are shut into homes and are not allowed to go out and so on, fertility goes up. Now we have
Welcome, David.
son has joined, so I think let's switch the program. Hello,
Is
David.
that social
I'm
distance?
Uncle Karunian here.
Hello there. Hi, good
Yeah,
evening.
you do look a little like your father. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting you when I visited him 2 years ago.
Yes,
But I
yes.
just want to introduce you to, these are all people who studied with your father in the medical school from 1961 to 1966.
Excellent.
Yeah, and
We were in
we
the
all
same
have
hostels as well.
very fond memories of your dad. All of us, most of us knew him very well and very closely. And so we thought it might be just to express our condolences to you. And thank you very much for coming. Patrick's son is also a doctor in somewhere practicing in London, right?
That's right, in Southeast England, yeah, Rochester.
Yeah. So maybe you can say a few words about your dad and what the plans are. And one other thing before we allow everyone to say something, there's also a request here, whether because he had Parkinson's, whether you want us to make any donations or you have any places where donations can be made, and whether Parkinson's Society or Parkinson's group might be the place. Shanti, maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, Shanti should be able to tell that.
You're muted, Shanti.
Unmute. Just to say that I know Rochester well, the Rochester Castle and Cathedral, because my daughter used to live there. So I have been to Rochester often. And just to say that I do some donations to the charities over here. Parkinson's Society is one. And whether you had in mind any other society that in your father's memory, you would like as a group to make a donation to.
Yes, I think that's very kind of you, Auntie. Yes, they have a Parkinson's UK society. Parkinson's UK. It's called parkinsons.org.uk. Maybe I could forward that to Uncle Karunian as well.
Okay, and I'll circulate around. So anyone who has memories of Patrick that you want to share with David?
Hi, David. My name is Patmalingam. Your dad had been one of my best friends. And let me tell you also the fact that your dad married your mom, who was the daughter of the vice principal of the school I went, Mr. Charles.
Oh, yes, Mr. Charles, yes.
Yeah. So I think all I could say is your dad was a perfect gentleman and one of the best people you can have as a friend. I'm sorry to hear about his demise. I wish the whole family and tell your mom that I did talk to you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Uncle. Yes, I knew from the past, others have told me how he and my mum, they met each other, and yeah, it's lovely to know how well loved he was by so many people. My only regret is, of course, I couldn't get to see you all earlier when he was alive. Imagine if we'd all been together like this. That would have been so nice.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, this group was formed only a year ago.
Only about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And I think, you know, for Patrick, he was, like you said, he was a very kind, gentle person. He was always like that throughout his life from when he was a young man. He himself went through hard times when he was young. You know, he lost his father and brother at a very young age. I'm sure you may be aware of that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Paddy's aware.
Yes, yeah, that was very sad. And you know, he did extremely well to get into the medical school. I know during your times, for all of you, entry into medical school was very, very tough in those days, especially you know, for political reasons. It was a difficult. Not many medical schools.
There were only two medical schools. The whole of Sri Lanka.
For the whole island.
Yeah, there was only one when we entered.
One when we entered.
We had only one medical school.
Gosh,
Yeah.
so that's an amazing achievement, you know, to get in during those times, and he did extremely well. And as you know, his destiny was to come to England. Some of you have gone to different parts of the world, but you know, I'm thankful to God that he did well in ophthalmology, and he did well in eye surgery. He was able to do all the things he wanted to do, and of course, later on in life, you know, he was very happy that I became a doctor as well, and get married, having children. So being a grandfather was a great thing for him as well. And I think at the end, that made him very happy.
Was he an ophthalmologist?
That's right, yes. Yes, in Derby, yes.
In Derby.
Yeah, I have the Derby address for you all, but I couldn't get through to the number. So
I can give you the address for myself if you, in the future, to write to myself or my mother.
David is here, Patrick's son.
She lives very close to us.
David, your father and I were roommates. We shared the same room. Just to give you a little, he and I entered medical school the same year. We came from different schools from the same area, Jaffna, and we got very friendly, and we both entered a hostel together.
Blomfontein.
And then Blomfontein, and there were two others also in the same hostel with him. And when we had the hostel, there used to be a rag, and Padmalingam, there was a rag. And so he had to, in the rag part of it, they had to enact a play, a little skit. And he was a thin, tall man compared to the.
I suggested that he become Charles Atlas.
So
he did that, and he was very thin, but it was very interesting to see him.
You know who Charles Atlas is, right? Charles Atlas. He's the bodybuilder.
The
one with the illustrious muscles.
Arnold Schwarzenegger of his time.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. So he posed as Charles Atlas, and then in the third year of medical school, one night there was a little problems. I don't want to go into the details, and many of us were thrown out of the hostel, including your dad.
Okay.
I don't know whether you told that. Okay, but all of us, including me and about two others at least who are here, in the middle of the night, we were asked to get out of the hostel. So we had to take our bags and walk out, and we stayed a night in the road, in the streets. We slept in the streets.
Oh, the ragging.
Yes. Sam Soisa, myself.
Sam, you also there?
Yes, I was there. Yeah. And I also used to, both of you were roommates. Yeah. And I used to ask Carnian, which is a better school? Was it St. John's or Jaffna College? Of course, Carnian used to say, oh, it's St. John's. And of course, Jaffna College is a better school. The two of you were arguing over that. And what I have to say is Patrick is one guy who never lost his temper. I had never seen him get angry.
I have never seen him too.
That's a good point. He tends to be very quiet generally as a person. And you're right. You never hear him shout.
David, we have a WhatsApp group called SLIMO1966FAMILY. And in the logo, the profile picture, it is Padmalingam, him and Nalin, the profile picture. So I took that picture, I focused on him and then took his picture, put it back in the same thing. Now, if you will kindly send me the number, I can send those photographs.
I forwarded that to him already.
Okay.
Have you? Okay. But luckily, I have Uncle Karunian's number. I mean, if certainly you're all more than welcome to share my number. I'll be delighted to have any photos.
You can join our group, no problem.
Yeah, why not?
Families of
David, what is your specialty?
I do general practice in Rochester.
Right, okay.
It's very busy.
GP too. Yeah.
Narada
you are a GP as well. Rochester.
That's correct.
Narada,
okay.
Narada, GP sees the patient as a whole. The specialist only see a little part of the patient. So
that's right. Holistic.
Yeah.
So we have very fond memories, and Sam Soisa and Nalin Perra, Patrick and I were in the same batch, and in the same hostel, and we have to go about 2 miles to go to the medical school. Nalin had a scooter that worked most of the time. I had a scooter that did not work most of the time. so in order to start the scooter, you had to push it. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
But someone had to be able to lead the clutch so that it starts. So invariably, Patrick used to come with me, and invariably, often he had to push the scooter on the road while I sat on the scooter to get it to start. So
Wow.
Sam has memories of that.
And
I must tell about this
started.
That's a very interesting story. Everybody must know about the scooter. The scooter usually does about say about 60, 70 miles on a full tank. But Karunians used to do about 400 because
push bike.
He says, "Hey Sam, you want to go for the lecture?" So Sam says, halfway through, it will stop and you have to push the Sam. It was Sam's, not Nalin's. Nalin's was all right.
Nalin's worked well.
Yeah, because yours was a EN. Nalin's was 4-3.
Yeah.
Right? Yours was a EN Lambretta.
That's right. That's the old one.
So many times, and I had to. And after pushing it so much, I was sweating so much. I refused to go.
He came back to the
shower.
You came back to Brody
he didn't go for the lectures that day. He came and did a shower and stopped going to the lectures. Anyway,
David, you are the only child he had, or what?
That's right. I'm the only child, but I have 2 children myself. You can say hello to them if you want. His grandchildren are here.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
How old are they?
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
You're all your granddad's friends.
Yeah. And Dania. She's my daughter.
You miss your granddad?
Hi.
What's that?
Quite sad.
You miss your granddad?
Yeah, it's quite sad.
Yeah, but he's gone to heaven. He's gonna have a good life.
Manuel, call me on Messenger.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So,
How old are you folks?
How old are you?
I'm 14.
Yeah, I'm 7.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, caught up with your brother.
So you're enjoying being at home and not going to school, or you miss school?
You miss school?
Yeah, I do.
Do you
What
speak
are your
Tamil?
names?
Tamil.
Do you speak Tamil?
No.
Do you speak Tamil?
No.
No, not really. No.
Konjam.
They'll understand gradually. Even I never really speak it, but I understand it. Konjam, you can pick up the words over the years.
You can't speak Tamil.
There is time. When
David, you can't speak Tamil.
No, I can't speak, but mum and dad, whenever they talked, I always gradually understood what they were saying. So even if they didn't want me to understand, I always figured it out. Over the years, you learn to understand, to translate from Tamil to English.
Anyway,
Your parents are Tamil, aren't they? Your mother is Tamil, isn't she?
Tamil,
Yeah,
yes.
of course.
Your mother is Tamil.
Anyway, David, you are better than my son. My son, somebody comes and talk to him in Tamil, and he says, "Uncle, I don't know Sinhalese."
Oh, dear.
But he eventually got to speak Tamil a little bit.
So yes. But so anyway, yes, I think, I think there's also another friend of my dad's in London. I don't know if you knew him. Tillavasan.
Tillavasan, yes.
He's in our batchmate. Yeah.
He's
Does he know about your father's? Because I was going to call him.
Yes. In fact, I think he was born on the same day as my dad. He had the same birthday.
David,
he was one of the people.
Again. Have you been?
Hello?
Sorry.
Have you been to Sri Lanka?
I went last
David,
in 2016.
have you been to Sri Lanka?
Yes,
2016.
2016.
Anyone else wants to say something? I know
I think
Benita
I'm from
and
the
all of
northern part of Sri Lanka, and your dad's mother used to live in Jaffna.
No.
I used to ride my bike and see your dad whenever he visits Jaffna.
Okay, that's nice.
Patrick, father-in-law was the vice principal of my high school, Charles.
Yes, Mr. Charles. Yes.
What high school did you go to?
Which school?
What was the high school?
Oh, I went in England. In
No, Padmalingam High School.
I actually was in St. John's, but I entered medical school from.
What was the high school?
St. John's, St. John's.
St. John's, and eventually I entered medical school from Jaffna Central. That's where Mr. Charles was the vice principal, a very nice man.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, we got to go on. Anyone else want to say anything to David?
So David, please accept our condolences on
behalf of the whole committee.
David, if you will tell us when the arrangements for funeral, if it's going to be a Zoom or virtual. I'm sure many of the batchmates would like to participate.
Yeah, definitely.
And, he was much loved and he was much respected. And, we were very close, sharing a room for about 3 years together and all our experiences. And he was I don't think we ever fought or argued, not because I was a nice guy, but because he was a very nice and tolerant guy. And that helped a lot, that he was very patient, very kind, very gentlemanly, and always concerned about the others. A very nice, young, lovely person. I'm glad I saw him 2 years ago. I made it a point to.
Yeah, the Colombo Medical School time. Yeah, when we were in when we met together.
Benita, you would have been in the same batch, right, as us?
Yes, sir. I can remember him. Gentleman par excellence. Excellent.
Thank
and
you.
he did ophthalmology, I think, when I was in England, Kent. I was in Sussex. Somewhere around that I met him. After that, it's a very vague memory. I can't remember him. But I am Benita. David. I am Benita. I was the first ophthalmologist.
Okay. So shall we?
Yeah.
David, you are most welcome to join. We are going to talk about COVID in our different parts of the world. And that's the subject.
Okay. I'm actually going to speak very soon to the Reverend. I'll let you go soon, but just to say, we're definitely going to have a service in the local church in Rochester, and the Reverend has told me that we should be able to get internet connection for a live stream service.
Okay.
They will play music in the church, pre-recorded music. We all have to wear our masks in the church.
Now, if you will give me your telephone number, I will send messages to the group. If you just
for my WhatsApp,
tell me your number only. Just 8 numbers.
The mobile number for the WhatsApp is 07910 246 004.
Again, 7910 246 004.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
That's it. Yes.
I will put join you up with our group. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And also, if there is a Parkinson's or other charity you want us to do anything in your father's memory, please do send that information too.
I mean, you may be aware, back in '93, he had the heart attack when I was very young. Obviously, heart disease is a common problem for a lot of us for ethnic reasons. We're all vulnerable. So, but that's something to consider as well. But I think the Parkinson's disease, for me, although as a doctor I see patients, I think when you witness it yourself, you really understand the holistic implication, not just for the patient, but for the wife as well. It's a terrible illness, but I'm so glad he stayed at home all this time. My mum looked after him, almost day and night. We had support from carers twice a day, but I'm very pleased that he stayed at home till the end. Otherwise, he would have, towards the end, it became very difficult. And I think maybe God decided that it was time to go now, keep his dignity here rather than progressing to the end stage. Well, he was already near the end stage, but to be bedridden ongoing would have been a terrible thing. I think you all know Patrick. He was never one to complain, but I think God knew it would have been too much.
I'll just introduce each one of them by name, and if you will just observe, and I will say the name and they will put up their hand. Okay, my name is Maruf. Okay, I am of course very close to your father, and I was with him in the college, as well as the hostel that they were talking about. Both hostels, thrown off and thrown in. Both hostels we were in. And just under next to me is Shanti Kulanayagam, and Charles Kodikara, Ranjit Abevikrama, and the Shrima, and then Sam Soisa. Yes, he's a scooter mate with Nalin and all right. And Karunin, of course, you know. And then we have Padmalingam, you know. My wife is just not there at the moment. That's and then this is Milroy Fernando,
Hi,
Lawrence Ratna Sapapati, and Mohanlal, and Narada Vijay Tilaka.
Yeah.
Okay. Vikramachandran.
Hi, David.
Edwin and Glory.
Hi,
And,
David.
Benita.
I knew your father from school.
Oh.
We entered medical school from Jaffna College.
Okay.
And I knew him, met him quite often because we were friendly with your cousin Jana and Sugandhi.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, and I met him at their place for dinner about 2 years ago. In spite of his difficulties, he still insisted on driving back home after 11 o'clock in the night.
Yes, yes.
He's a determined man.
Yes, yeah. That's true. Yes, yes. He would never give up.
No. We were trying to coax him to stay for the night and then go. He wouldn't.
Okay. Okay, David,
Okay,
once
David,
again,
thanks for coming.
our condolences to you. Please tell Jerani also that our condolences, and we'll be in touch. And it's wonderful to see you. Wonderful to see Patrick's son.
Thank
and,
you.
You know, you look a little like him. You are very much like him. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Everyone. Goodbye.
Thank
Be
you.
with you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Yeah, I think that was nice. We were able to have nice thing. Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah. So anyway, going forward, I think let's get back to our program. Let me just briefly tell you about the US. I'll keep it short, and maybe Milroy also, if you have anything to add. The most wonderful thing, or to me, a game changer, I think that's going to happen, and is happening already, is that the administration of COVID management, the pandemic management, has been radically changed with the onset of our new administration. And that is the most significant thing that has happened in this country. The new order, unlike the old order where injecting hydroxychloroquine and it'll go away nonsense. The new order is that there is one guy who's coordinating everything. And that's number one. Number two is there is a group of scientists and doctors who are in charge of policy and in charge of public education and all the facets of things. There are people in charge, starting with vaccine production to vaccine distribution to putting policies in group and so on. And interestingly, there is a very higher than expected number of Indian guys who are involved in this process. Indian doctors and Indian scientists. Very prominently, Biden's cabinet and in his inner circle, the Indians have played a big. So we are a little proud of it, and it's nice to see South Asians being in the forefront of science. But it's repeatedly said it'll be science driven, it'll be transparent, and most importantly, they'll be centralized planning, and they have done what is called wartime laws to ramp up the vaccine production, and organizationally it's going to be all right. It was a hell of a mess. there were lyings and inaccurate reports, all kinds of things happened, and they're trying to clean it up. And Biden's plan is to have 100 million vaccines in 100 days. And we have up to now got 29 million vaccines in, but he wants to wrap up currently we have had 25,615 cases, sorry, bear with me. Yeah, 25,615 cases in the US out of a population of 330 million. That's close to about 8% of the population. There have been 431,000 deaths. They are predicting that it will go to 500,000, and 27.9 million people have been vaccinated. But the idea is to vaccinate 1, 2, and now they are talking even of ramping it up to 1.5 million people per day. Now, the most important thing is, in terms of, it's a federal country. The US is a federal system, so that the states have a certain amount of rights and power. And what under Trump, the federal government said it is all the states' business. It is your job. You do it. And some of the states just don't have the resources in terms of money, organization, and ideas. Some states are better than the others. So all over the place. But now it's all centralized. The organization is centralized, even though states are also involved. And between the states and the federal, there's some reorganization that's going on. And so we believe that there will be rationality and better management. And the goal is to decrease it adequately by end of summer so that you can resume normal life. And that's the sort of what they are shooting at. And they're going to give special money to schools and tell them how to do it. It's not only just saying do it, but telling them do it too. So it's a night and day. In 8 days of Biden administration, the whole process is so much more rational. So that's on the side of the administration. Now, in terms of the disease incidence, there was a huge peak. Hospitals were really, stressed out, and a lot of backlog happened. What I saw was, for instance, hospitals, about 50-60% of the hospital bed, everything is COVID. So if you get a heart attack, you are put somewhere else, and if you call 911 and think that you have malignant hypertension, if you're asymptomatic, they say, wait, we can't take you there. And if you go to the hospitals, they're delayed. So it was a hell of a mess. ICU beds were not there. Now, in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, things have started improving. Part of it is because of isolation and more doing that. So overall, the incidence is improving, which is the good news. Now, in terms of vaccines, we are having Moderna and Pfizer, and now the Johnson & Johnson is going to get approved. Johnson & Johnson has less, the protection percentages on the studies is less than what it was for Moderna and Pfizer, but it's still 70%. It's significant, but it's one dose and easier to administer because it doesn't have the freezing and all the cold storage line that goes on. So that should come on board maybe in 2 more weeks.
Novavax.
And the Novavax is also coming, but
That's the one that you're talking about.
They're talking about, yeah. So we are all getting that. Now, in terms of therapeutics, nothing is new. We have a little more availability of the antibody treatment, but again, using it logistically, it's a problem because you had an IV infusion. So there's nothing new. And then what else? So that's that. They are understanding more about it, but there isn't any new treatment. So dexamethasone still is perhaps the most effective treatment of everything that we have, the simple dexamethasone. Now, finally, there is concern about the mutant strains, but Moderna and Pfizer seem to be still effective. The only way to decrease the mutation rates is to decrease the number of viruses, and for that you need to just vaccinate and immunize. So long and short of it is, I see light at the end of the tunnel, and I think we will hopefully get through this by the end of the summer, maybe. So that's what I have to say for Milroy. You have anything to add, Majan?
As it is, they are saying because of the mutations, the virus is undergoing mutations all the time. Some are, most of them are non-pathogenic, but some variants are pathogenic. And in the future, we are going to get more mutations, and we are going to have problems with the vaccine in the foreseen future. That's what they are saying, like the UK strain, it has now already here, as we know. And now we're having a problem with the Brazilian one. Someone returned from Brazil, UK, and the US citizen, and he has the infection, now is being quarantined. So they say Johnson & Johnson vaccines may be about 50% for the variant. So that is, we are going to hit the problems if we start mutating. And with the vaccine, we don't know how long the immunity lasts. That's the thing. No one knows how long it is going to last. And once we have the vaccine, those who are vaccinated, they don't know whether we are carriers. So those are the ongoing studies. So vaccine will definitely help, but it's not going to be the silver bullet to stop the disease. They doubt it very much, and they feel that in the future, if we start mutating, and we may have to have vaccination like every 2 years. These are actually stipulations. Vaccination every 2 years, so like the flu vaccine. If it continues to mutate like this, and they say it will mutate because this is how the viruses survive. So it is the pandemic that's going to go on. We won't be able to stop by summer. It will be well into 2022, and then we have to see how it goes. So we will have a new normal with to wear a mask in spite of vaccination, and then social distancing and take all the precautions. So as far as restrictions with traveling, everything, we have to wait and see. Now everything restricted. I mean, UK is locked down. Then I read that Scotland is really bad. The virus is spreading the variant, and they are locked down too with very stringent restrictions than even in England. So we are going to live with this for quite some time, like the earlier pandemics that we have. So we have to be prepared to have a new norm and then go from there with restrictions for the time being. Easily into year 2020, this year, end of this year, easily.
I have a question. I have a question from everybody. When you say 70% effective, what does it actually mean? Out of 100 people, does it mean 70 people will not get the infection and the other 30% will get the infection but won't be ill enough to go to hospital? What does it actually mean?
Okay, so can I answer the question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so what it is, Sam, is, I read the original studies with Pfizer, Zeneca, trying to find the answer to the question. What it means is, it's as the underlying your question is an assumption that this is numbers that are being thrown, and you are right on that. What it is they have a control group and a sample group. Okay, I mean there are the experimental group and the control group, and they have taken people about 30,000, 40,000 in each group. 20,000 to 40,000 is a sample in this group, and then they have a time, maybe about 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. That's all they've had time to do it, and see how many people got the infection in the control group and how many people got the infection in the group that got the vaccine. And they compare the number, and based on the number who got the vaccine, they put that number down. For instance, Pfizer vaccine is said to be 95% effective. What it is that in a sample of, I think, either 20 or 30,000 people, about 10 people in the non-vaccine group got the infection, and only 1 person in the vaccine group got the infection. So, therefore,
I think 3 and 9.
Huh?
I think it's 3 and 9.
3 and 9
3
must be
people in the vaccine group and 9 in the non-vaccine group.
in the article in the New England Journal. It was 1 and 10. I remember.
Right.
So I don't know whether it's different study, but whatever it is, that is the basis on which they say 75%.
Yeah.
So it's a very vague, very soft kind of number. You can't hang your head on that. But one thing they have found is that in the vaccinated persons, when they get the infection, it is not as severe.
Yeah, that is what I was
Not
very
as
keen
severe,
to find out, because you don't need to be hospitalized. One other thing is, I have been following Israel. They have vaccinated virtually coming up to 50% of their population. And the numbers have not come down yet. So I'm a little puzzled as to why that is so.
There is resistance in the religious groups. We're having the same problem here in England. The ultra-Orthodox don't keep in touch, and there's no way of communicating with them. And they are the highest occupants of intensive care.
Okay.
So there are religious and political problems.
But however, if you are vaccinated half your population,
Sam,
and
up to yesterday, only 34% has been vaccinated in Israel.
No, it's more than that, Narada. It's
Because
getting
this I
close.
got from today's papers.
I don't think it is.
No, not the papers. I follow the world of meter.
No way. I have the statistics now. I'm going to show you.
Tell me, what is it?
The whole world, I don't think anywhere it has reached 50%. Nowhere.
Well, Israel
But the answer is this. The question is,
Israel, maybe, yes.
Sam,
I'm not saying that Israel may not have reached 50%. They're getting close to it. What I'm interested to find out is, are their numbers coming down? They don't seem to be coming down. That is
so Sam, two points, okay? Yesterday, in preparation for this, I listened to Fauci's long lecture on the various aspects of the vaccination, and I learned two things. Number one is to effectively decrease the incidence of things purely by vaccination, not by social distancing and masking. It'll take 70 to 75% of people to be vaccinated to have the herd immunity. So that is point number one he mentioned. Number two is he also mentioned that if sufficient number of people are vaccinated and the number of infection is less and transmission is less, the mutant rates will decrease. Therefore, you have less of the problems that Milroy talked about. Number three is, I don't know where I read it about a week ago, that there are numbers, the Israel vaccination program is showing some positive effect.
Sam, take the vaccine. The vaccine to become effective, it takes some time. It has to go into the memory.
One minute.
The immune process and produce that.
You can go. I'll send you the YouTube link.
So it takes a
the
little
whole
while to do.
recording from the beginning.
50% vaccine, and there's a couple of days.
So
the number
when you
will
finish
come
here,
down.
I will let you know. Then you can go and check
Just
the whole
one other thing I want to tell you. One other thing I want to tell you is I saw. I read about a nasal spray.
I'm going to send you the WhatsApp
which
now.
is supposed to block the
I'm the one who
viruses
coordinates the whole
getting
thing.
in, manufactured in
brought this group
Israel.
together.
And I just got one down. I just thought I will show
They
it.
were all scattered all over the place.
Tafix.
Yeah, Maruf. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Yeah. Okay. All right. Go on. Yeah.
I read about this in some journal. This is manufactured in Israel.
I will
this
get
is
back.
called Tafix. It's a nasal spray which is supposed to block to a good extent, block the viruses getting in through your nose. I just got it down. I just thought I will share it.
Sam, what is in it? What is it? Is it something?
It's a spray.
Nitrous oxide.
No.
Yeah,
It's
what they say.
Go to the website and read it. It's called Tafix. You can see it now, can you? I just got it down.
Yeah, but what is in Tafix?
Yeah, Madan, Narada, the theory, there are two theories, okay? One is they say that it is nitrous oxide and that kills the virus or whatever, it takes away the thing. And there is also another YouTube that is circulating that if you do meditation and deep breathing and some of those things, that in the nasal concentration of nitrous oxide increases, and therefore it is a protection against the virus. It's circulating. I don't know whether it's true or not, but I would not necessarily. Shanti, you know anything?
I think that I'm smiling because I follow a yoga practice session. And that's
Shanti, you have to put it loud. You're not loud enough, Shanti.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. I do a yoga practice by a doctor, Dr. Gauri Balan. And he at the
Shanti, you're echoing.
Oh dear, sorry. I'm not got anything near me.
I think you must be having
Have
your
you got a
mobile
headset?
and both
Shanti,
open.
if you have a headset, it will be better.
Right. I
Fix
don't
the
have,
headset.
I'm not going to take it out now by the time I put it together.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Right. As I said, I do some yoga exercises with this doctor called Dr. Gauri Balan. And he said something along the lines what Karunyan was saying, that when you do the pranayam, that is the breathing exercise from come up and to your nasal and make it vibrate, he said that is as good as taking, as Sam said, the nitrous oxide in the form of a spray. But of course, there is no, it is only a theory, but he said this has been practiced for many, many years by the others, and that is the only proof he has. But of course, this is the nitrous oxide spray that people are talking about. So I think the other thing I think what Narada mentioned was so many deaths happening every day in UK, or around 1,000 deaths on an average. And we have had gone above the 100,000 limit, 104,000 or 105,000. I just want to put a different angle to this. If you consider at least on an average 3 people in this family of 100,000 odd, about 300,000 or more are still lost someone very close to them and will be grieving. So alongside with this, the mental health problems in children and adults have all risen. And I think someone said, I think said we have the light at the end of the tunnel in maybe a year's time or 2 years' time. But I think from my point of view, I may be completely wrong. I think it will be a different world to the one we are used to. It will be normal, but normal in quotes. For example, people work from home now. That pattern will continue. People find that they save time in expenses on traveling and car usage, train, so they will continue to work from home. People will do the online shopping. I have learned to do the online shopping, and that would go ahead. So that we see our high street, number of shops have closed. On the other hand, and so jobs have gone, but looking on the other side of the coin, I see in the delivery section, there are a number of warehouses have opened. There are people doing the packaging, distribution, and the delivery vans are progressing. So I think it will be a different world. And in UK, I think one spin-off is, as most people would know, when we had this issue of whether we should remain in the European Union or leave the European Union, it went almost in the center, almost 50%, a little bit more on those people who wanted to leave. And now I think Narada mentioned about the war between the European Union saying, you must give us the vaccine. We made the contract. There was a war to get who comes first come, first serve, or we have placed the contract. So people are saying we were a divided country. People wanted to remain, and those who people wanted to leave. Those who wanted to remain are saying, thank God we have left the European Union. Otherwise, they will dictate who gets the vaccine first. It's not that we who have ordered it first. So as Narada said, the UK government may have made some mistakes, not putting lockdown, benefit of hindsight. There will be an inquiry into that, but at least one thing they did right. That was they rolled out the vaccination program. And we are expecting by the middle of February, most of the over 65s would have been vaccinated. Having said that, just one point I want to say is that we are having, the UK is going to host the G7 summit in June. And there is a proposal that will be relevant to our discussion today, that we should have a globalization and look at how we would globalize the vaccination program. Secondly, that we will be asked, because the digital technology has advanced so much, that we would have to carry in addition to the normal passport, a vaccination passport, because international business, travel, tourism will definitely have to go ahead. And I think Australia and New Zealand can't have their borders closed forever. So this vaccination passport will come as a must. Even airlines will ask you for a vaccination. So they're going to talk about these two important things in addition to all the other things that they will discuss. And Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, wants to expand the G7 to include countries like India, Australia, and South Korea, 10, so that it would be altogether a coordinated approach to be needed, and how we would be prepared for another pandemic that will certainly definitely come. And sorry, that was a penultimate thing, because I wanted to say, because we are talking about vaccinations, I think the good thing that to me that has come out is how long it took to have the smallpox vaccination, yellow fever vaccination, to manufacture them. Just imagine the digital technology and the research and the scientists were able to come up with the vaccination so quickly for this new coronavirus. So there are certain things.
The reason.
And so my question is, we should all be positive, sorry, not corona positive, but look at with a positive outlook, it will be good.
Okay,
The
thank
reason-
you. Thank you.
the re-
Before we go forward, one minute, Maru.
Yeah.
We have a program, and Vikramachandran was going to present about Australia.
Oh, sorry.
And we have a personal experience of one of our members with this coronavirus. And that's, I think we'll first listen to Vikramachandran.
Yes.
Briefly, Vikramachandran, the Australian experience, or Benita, Australians. The New Zealanders are not here, Sri Lankans are not here. And so after
Karunian, just 1 minute.
Sure.
I'm responding to something that Shanti said is very important.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because I think it is important. One of the main failure in this whole pandemic, there was no coordination in the world. Nobody understood when you alert pandemic, what is the next step to do? None of them knew. The so-called great presidents and great prime ministers, none of them did anything that was right. Number one. Number two is that we have to realize when it comes to pandemics or viruses like this, it can spread very widely across, and therefore load of compliance amongst the people. And I was in the UK, I felt very unsafe. When I walk out, everybody is just putting the mask below the chin and walking around. And everybody, I even walk into a supermarket, they come banging into you. They don't care. And this is one of the other things. And they don't, as long as they are not ill, they don't care about the other people. And this is another major issue. And I have got statistics here that I will pass on to you. I won't spend too much time, but the strictness of application is there in this country, but still there are people breaking it. In this country where I am at the moment, in Saudi Arabia. And here, when I go out, I feel relatively safe than in the UK. The great country UK and the great country America failed terribly because of they have big heads. They think they are great, and that is the main problem. That is the main problem.
Yeah,
all of us have to follow, and I'm telling you, I'm predicting this. The main problem here is they will not be able, if you get the vaccine to 80% of the population, how fast can we do it? Very, very slow, because we don't have the vaccine, and we have the capability. Because one of the thing I wanted to respond to Shanti was the reason for the delay, the rapid thing was that there is a massive effort on immune therapy for cancer. And immune therapy, cancer, you can kill it by immune therapy. All right, you can get rid of cancer by immune therapy. And the immune therapy, even those is the one we gave a hand, because the spike proteins, only the spike proteins took taken, and they had the thing ready, and they put the spike proteins, they were ready. They didn't have any other modification, passing through 3 cows for the so-called smallpox vaccine. They didn't have all that, because we are highly dealing with the specific antigens that cause the reaction to alert the system. And there are lots of interesting things that have come since then. Go and read up about biome, how biome keeps your immunity on. This is important. How vitamin D3 is not only a vitamin, it is also a hormone. And there are lots of information that is coming around, and that we need to collect and use it. Okay. And that's one of the comments I wanted to make. And I have a small 5 minutes on what is happening in the Gulf, and I will pass it on after Vikramachandran.
So, Vikramachandran, do you want to say something, because we have very interesting end production? Yeah, Benita, you want to talk about it? Australians.
I just can I say something about the nasal spray? I was just looking at the YouTube from New Zealand. Hello.
Yeah.
New Zealand. One of the doctors said. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
To use providone iodine, betadine solution as a nasal spray and gargle the throat, and that seems to reduce the COVID virus load.
Benita, are there any studies on that, Benita?
I don't know. I guess one of the doctors was saying.
I mean, I can tell you that I stand on my head and my viral load comes down.
Yeah, but then betadine is antiseptic we use for even for any surgery, for any mucous membrane, we use that to knock off virus, bacteria, everything. It's a standard thing that in entire surgery we use betadine into the conjunctiva, into the mouth, everywhere.
Okay.
So this is I don't know. This is what was
sure.
One, and today one of the Sri Lankan, one of the cardiologists have put saying that pulmonary fistulas they have come across with these patients who have had the problem. First time they had found blisters coming up on the pleura and fistulas. As a complication of COVID.
Pathophysiology is still being worked out. But two things. I just want to tell two things. Okay, number one is, thank you. Number one is, we have a batchmate who had the COVID. We can listen to his experience. But before we do that, can we ask Vikramachandran to say a few words? Because we said we would let him speak, and then we will go to our more interesting personal battles. Yeah.
As you are aware, Australia and New Zealand are a lucky country because they use the simple principle of isolation. They isolated the country from the rest of the world, so nobody can locked in, And we have 6 states, and all the states came under the federal. They are a body, as somebody suggested, more coordination. That is what Maru said. They coordinated the whole thing, and there was a body, including the cabinet and everything. They decided exactly what the entire nation should do just before the virus could take hold of. Because of that, the people who are sick and admitted to hospital, the entire process is 986. And the people who got infected are in a few thousands. And we were able to move from place to place. I live in Queensland. I had to never wear a mask. I went to the shops. There are no restrictions because the border was shut. And even they brought in this using swabs, came in late. Even when they did that, the number of people infected is very, very small indeed. Virtually, our country is sterile to the virus. And so the using the immune mechanism is the vaccination. We have not started the vaccination. And somebody said here, there are some problems with the administration. You have to organize the administration. That's what it will take in time. And when the administration is all, they're well organized. And because of that, the people will get in that order. The people are more prone to get it, will get it first, and then it'll go down. So we don't have very much about it. Recent, even my knowledge of this vaccination is this, even these viruses, they mutate all the time. How did this virus come? It came from a bat, went to an animal, and then came to the human. They mutated all the way. Yeah. But the one that the mutation occurs, the one that is coming up, doesn't increase the pathological sequence of the disease. It only highly infective. It infects people. So what happens? It is infectivity is increased. And the second point is the immune mechanism. It doesn't, of course, there's antibody and the killer cells, the two immune. What does the immunization is to produce memory in the immune process of the body. It produces immunity. The memory is triggered so that it can recognize the foreign body and mount a reaction to it. So it takes a couple of weeks to do that. And the antibodies initially capture the thing. And once it enters the thing, the killer cells will get rid of it, you see. So the earlier concept was the current thing, they are not sure, but they suggest that it might have a longer immune effect, that is for period. It's not unknown. Another thing, whether it prevents infection, possible, but not known. Those are things. So from our point of view, our country can be taken as an example where you isolation from each other and restriction of movement and all those things that produce the sterile status of our country. That's what we opened the thing to, from New Zealanders could come here. But recently they have found this British, that virus has come in, and so they are restricted for another next 3 weeks, 3 days to see what's happening. Otherwise, we have free movement in Australia now. I have nothing to
news. Okay, wonderful news. That's good to hear such stories. Ranjit, you are the Sri Lankan representative. Sorry, I thought it was Lalita, and so yeah.
Lalita is not here. I also thought Lalita would present the Sri Lanka situation because she's more into it. But I can just give a list of what is happening here. We have now 62,445 confirmed cases of COVID, of which 56,277 have recovered. So we have only about 5,863 active cases at present.
Including the Minister of Health.
That's right. Minister of Health is in the ICU.
Yeah. The number of deaths has increased. Now it's 305. Though we didn't have many deaths, now we are having between 5 and 8 or 9 deaths every day.
They brought the Ukrainians.
Problem is, we got a gift of 500,000 doses of the AstraZeneca from India, from the Serum Institute in India. And they started
in exchange for the port.
Yes. Fun?
In exchange for the port.
I don't. But
we are selling our country for vaccines now.
Okay, let Ranjit tell his word. Yeah.
The port is
China. We'll hold the comments till Ranjit finishes.
The health workers, initially, who are dealing with the patients, they are also immunizing the Army, Navy, Air Force, and the police who are dealing with the control of the infection. So those are the two categories who have been vaccinated at present. And I think yesterday, 5,000 have been vaccinated. Now, the other thing is, we have hoping to get 20% of our requirements from the WHO, and they are also expecting some donations from Russia and China. But I don't know how effective they are. Now, we had a pilot project to try to get tourists coming into Sri Lanka, and we had, I think, 2,500 people from Ukraine who were brought in batches and kept in a bubble, and they were kept in hotel, and they were taken to places to visit, not to mix with the local population. Now our airports have opened 2 days ago for tourists. What else can I say? I don't know whether this death rate is increasing because death rates are mainly in the people who are old and who have other comorbidities. And I think they should try to get the vaccine to these people to reduce the death rate. Because we didn't have very many deaths, but now we have 305. But still, it's only about 0.5 of the cases.
Ranjit, so let me ask you a question. Supposing I want to come to Sri Lanka, can I travel back there? Are you open?
Yeah, you have to have a PCR test done 72 hours before your
That's a
departure.
standard rule.
Then you'll have to have a test on arrival, and I think another one 7 days later.
And
But
hotel
you have to be
isolation.
quarantined till that period.
And hotel isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
About
So,
the vaccines you are getting, the Russian one is supposed, the Sputnik is 94%, and the Chinese SLIMO vaccine is only 50% effective.
But are there any published studies on those?
Yeah, they are done. In fact, the Russian one is there in a new study with the AstraZeneca to find out whether they can mix vaccination.
Yeah.
But I spoke to Lalita a few days ago, and she said the first and second doses should be of the same vaccine. You can't give different vaccine.
Yeah. At the moment,
There are
that's
different types
accepted
because there are
norm.
different types.
Because
Can I
it's
come
not
into
only
this?
the different manufacturer, the action of each vaccine is totally different.
Yeah.
Can I get into this? What the vaccination does is stimulate the memory process of the immune body. Once the immune bodies are made to recognize a foreign body, that particular foreign body, it doesn't matter. Now, all the vaccines are produced in the foreign bodies, you see, but come from outside, from produced inside the cell now. So it doesn't matter whether you use whatever vaccine you do, the immune process is there. Once it's activated, once it sees the foreign body, it will act. So it doesn't matter what the vaccine you use. I can't see the logic in this argument. You can't use the other one. I can't see the logic in that.
Because the actual ingredient which you are injecting is totally different.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter because it stimulates a different part of the immune system.
No. There is no different part of the immune system. Immune system is stable. Immune system is stable.
So there is a we are approaching this. We are approaching this question from the theoretical part, and I think Vikramachandran is right from the theoretical part. But as you know, in every one of the theoretical part, you got to finally proof of the pudding is to show actually a double-blind study to prove that, and that hasn't happened. But he's right. I mean, once the immune system is activated and there is some memory, if a similar particle comes from another vaccine or from the virus, it will further stimulate the memory. So that's the point, the theoretical point he's making. But I just want to move from reports of country, and we are delighted with Australia's performance, and we are delighted that Sri Lanka is now allowing people to get there, which is wonderful news. And we are not so delighted with what is happening in the leaders of the world, United States and England, though we have some better, I think next meeting we will have better news. I just want to tell you that one of our batchmates did have the virus and experienced it and beat it. So if you want to listen to his experience, Padmalingam, do you want to tell what happened?
Yes, my dear brother. It was a delightful morning to listen to all of you, and I think I am more knowledgeable about the virus, COVID-19. My question to you, to all these batchmates on this Zoom, how many of you had the COVID?
So you
Shanti,
had Shanti?
Shanti had it long time back, almost about 2 or 3
1 year ago.
months ago. Am I
Yeah,
right?
the first March 2020.
Yes, and
The
did you
pioneer.
have the high fever, cough, and all those type of things?
Not fever, chills, but
Yes.
I had the loss of sense of taste because it was at the beginning, I couldn't do the COVID test because I had to travel very far. So I did the COVID antibodies 3 months later, and I had the antibodies.
Yes, we,
You don't have to have the vaccine.
yeah, me and my wife were affected by this virus almost about 2.5 months ago.
Oh.
Luckily for us, our son was around and he was, I think we didn't have to be hospitalized. He was looking after us by giving various types of things, but not the dexamethasone. That is the only one we ran out, but he even put us on magnesium. Anyway, to make the story short, we are fortunate we survived. Yeah, I think my
Nice to see you.
myself,
Thank God.
yeah, because the country started giving vaccines
What
to
were
all
the
those
symptoms
people in nursing
and
home.
signs?
I got my first vaccine about 10 days ago. I am due for my second vaccine. But my question to you all, my wife being a doctor herself, she's a little reluctant to get the vaccine. And her question is, now that we had the virus and again, we double checked it about 3 weeks ago, both of us are negative now. Her question is, how long will the initial infection we had, the antibodies are going to be in your system? Can one of you answer that question?
Yeah, but before that, Padmalingam, someone, Benita asked what your symptoms were and how sick were you and what
Oh, pardon me.
you do.
I'm sorry. I think I was talking too loud. Yeah, my symptoms were mostly a sore throat, maybe a cough, which is even now at night I do cough. I have had 2 chest X-rays. They were both negative. I went to my family doctor last week, and he wanted me to now have a CAT scan of my chest as well as my sinuses. He's a very caring Indian guy. So I think my symptoms are fever, a low-grade fever, and both of us, at least being doctors, we try to manage ourselves at home. And our son lives only 5 houses from us, and he was there every day at the door knocking on to see how the old people are. And
the pulse ox at home to check out.
yeah, and the wife being a nurse, also now she's a lawyer, but she gave pulse oxes machines to both of us to check our pulse ox, and we remained more than 95 most of the time.
Okay, so you were not
Benita,
really affected.
the question
So you had a pulse oximeter.
about symptoms, we did not have too much of going off our food or throwing up or anything like that. We were fortunate.
So mild
I
one.
mean,
He had diarrhea.
yeah, my wife says she had diarrhea.
The question is,
Padmalingam, what was your respiratory function?
His pulse ox was 95.
Yes, 95, 96.
What was the respiratory?
Still in the 20s. In the 20s. What's the question, manager?
do you need the vaccination if you've had the virus? You have mounted
The CDC recommendation is that even if you have the virus, you may wait for 90 days, but to get the vaccination, even afterwards, for whatever reason. I don't know the science behind it, but they say you can wait a little.
Same recommendation.
There are a lot of unknowns. Lot of unknowns. Are you transmitters?
immunity from the vaccination last as opposed to the natural infection?
We don't know. There's a lot of unknown. Number one, they don't know how long it lasts. They don't know whether the people who are vaccinated are transmitters of the infection. Because a lot of the people are transmitting are asymptomatic. So number of these studies are not known. So
there's one study done in Oxford. There's one study done in Oxford post-COVID antibodies. They have found up to 6 months it is there, but that's the longest period they have studied so far. So unless it's a longer period, we don't know.
It may be like flu vaccine, annual vaccine. We don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. But in terms of taking a vaccine, you can go and read the CDC's recommendation. They say to take a vaccine even if you have the infection.
Even the UK recommendation is to have the vaccine, saying that even if the natural antibodies are there, the vaccine will boost it.
True. I want to make a
did you have any preconditions?
No. I think just I'm a diabetic, but on oral medication. That is all. But I want to make a comment. I think health is wealth. Healthcare is self-care. The reason we escaped at our ages is because we had been doing a lot of caring and sharing about our health. And that is why the nursing home patients don't make it very much and they die most of the time because they have been not getting the proper nutrition and proper care, I think, in my judgment. That may be the reason most of the nursing home patients died, I think.
Padmalingam, Trump did very well with that infection.
Did he have one?
We don't.
We don't know.
know.
But even the virus would have been unwilling to live in the body of an obnoxious guy like him.
No, but his personal physician's report was a bit dubious one.
I think it's a drama. He played a drama.
It's a matter of opinion, but I think we don't want to go into too much of politics. But I believe in the word called democracy. And in my judgment, democracy is going to be a lot better than what we had 4 years ago, for the last 4 years.
Okay.
You have to wait and see.
Okay. All right. I think it's a different subject. The politics of
everybody has to be treated equal. That's my logo.
Yeah.
So anyway, democracy has not brought 500 million people from starvation to well-fed like China. 500 million. No country in the world. No democracy in the world.
Gentlemen, the subject is coronavirus today, and we won't get into it, but we will have that. I think it's worth having the health effects.
Karunyan, I see Mrs. Padmalingam at the back. Why is she why does she not want to have the vaccination?
I've heard so many negative things about it. That you can end up with an autoimmune disease. You can
Vanaja, you got to come closer to the mic. By the way, Padmini, Vanaja is a pediatric pulmonologist. She's a pediatric pulmonologist.
Exactly. This is why I want to know why she doesn't want to have the vaccination.
I heard it can you can end up with autoimmune disease and that
nanochip,
the RNA virus vaccine.
Will it matter in our age?
But yeah,
I think there is a lot of
Vanaja,
Vanaja,
three points, Vanaja. One point is, individual battle stories put out by the news media should not be the. Just tell Jeremy I'll be with him today. It should not be the base. You have to go for good studies to say that it is cause and effect. So one newspaper saying some fellow got a vaccine and this happened is not proof of that happening. So that is number one. Number two is from your point of view, you have to balance the risk of being reinfected with the risk of the vaccine. And I think it's a very legitimate question, because for you, the decision is not based on what they say, but would you get reinfected? So in a case of person like you who's had it, and if you can do the social distancing and the isolation, maybe the risk of vaccine is greater than the risk of your lifestyle and so on. So it's a very individualized decision based on the individual risk you have for yourself. So you can make the decision, but collectively for the population, the recommendation is that even if you have it, take it. Wait for 90 days and then take it. But you can read the CDC, there's lots of information available. But the recommendation will change as they get more information.
I think the vaccine, if it is taken by everyone, right now, if we have say that we have 7 billion vaccines, everyone, everywhere takes the vaccine, okay? This is, of course, a theory, but if everyone takes, the virus won't be there anymore. So the more we have, and once you reach about 70 or 80, the herd immunity sets in, and that will get rid of the virus. So there is a point at which the virus will never be able to infect and go around, because there is a lot of protection being built by the vaccine. But of course, there are side effects. Of course, there are a lot of false stories. I put out one of those vouchers, the discussion with some other young doctors, and it gave a lot of answers for this.
Yeah,
I think
I
believe
will
that
put some of those on the web, on the chat group. You know,
I have some more things to show to you. Just give me 1 minute only. I have some collected things that I wanted to show you. This is the YouTube thing. Don't worry about that. Okay, here is the WHO. Whatever said and done, the whole world was hit. So it is a cooperation. Each one of us are responsible with those whole map. Because every one of us, unless individually we cooperate, if we say, oh, we don't need to take, we don't need to take, it will eventually, when you take, you protect yourself and also protect other people. And that is one point I wanted to make. The other thing is, I have some other things that I have here. I have got this, for example, the worldometer will give you about all the information that you require. It's very simply, here, can you see this? You want to go anywhere and you want to know all the details are here. Wait, here. Now, if you go, you want to know the country wise. If you want to just click on that, you'll get the country wise. If you want to click on that, you'll get the highest to the lowest. You see? And that's the lowest. This is the highest. So USA highest. Next is India, of course, and the total population is also given here. This is a beautiful thing. Go and have a look. You will understand what's going on today.
So, Maruf, will you put the link on the?
Yes, I will give you this link. No problem. I'm going to give you this. That's why I have done it in a. And then the third thing is, this is a beautiful. This is about coronavirus in the Gulf, and they tell you about the various parts of it. Instead of my presenting it, I thought I'll pass it on to you all to read it. So if you touch any of these on the, and it will tell you the number of cases in each. Relatively, this is the area that has been mostly affected, and these are less. Okay, and these are the poor countries, incidentally.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to show this to you, but I will put these links for you all, and it is just it's a word file and just one page, and then you can click on those and you can identify, you can work on it. It will tell you. But I think I have been generally following the vaccine stories. I think quite a number of them are not true, so don't fall for it, because I think we need to be more concentrated on the information. That's why I thought Don will come, and Don couldn't come today.
Okay.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you very much, all of
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
I think
Can you take the screen share off, Maru?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, gentlemen and ladies, of course,
Karunian, sorry, may I,
It should
this
have
is
been the other
Saro.
way about. Ladies
sorry,
and
Shanti.
gentlemen.
Ladies
Sorry,
and
yeah.
gentlemen, yes.
I said it should have been the other way around. Ladies and gentlemen.
After Shanti, Karunian,
No,
hello,
no.
can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Sure. Sarojini, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
I just have a question. I don't know whether we will have a full answer, but if one does develop the natural antibodies from having the infection,
Yes.
whether the severity of that infection has any impact on the amount of antibody developed, lasting effects, all of that, whether the severity of the infection you had will have an effect on that is one thing. Probably no one knows at this point also. So I'm trying to make a point for getting the vaccination. As I'm supporting Shanti and Maruf in all these efforts, like it has to be a global effect. Plus that if you vaccinate, you're more or less kind of pretty sure that you're getting the vaccine, you're going to have the antibodies developed with the memory and so on. And so the chance of having the herd immunity and at some point controlling it are much, much greater.
Taking a
And
vaccine, you're
some
helping
people
yourself
taking
and
it
the
and some
world.
people not taking it. So just wanted to. And does anyone have an answer to the question about the severity of the disease and the antibody formation?
Saro, I think the first point we have to agree is that amount of information we have on this disease is limited, especially the longitudinal data. And number two, there is so many variations of the people who get, the type of people who get, that I think the antibody response and quantification of more and less is, I haven't seen any data on that. Anyone looking at the data to say whether severe illnesses get it or less illnesses get it. There have been some talk about convalescent, for instance, some people just get vague symptoms and they are better. They are tested positive. But I haven't seen anyone asking for their convalescent serum as much. So there might be different levels of antibodies. I don't know the answer to it, and I don't think the answer is exist. But anyone else?
I think you're right, Karunian. When I had my COVID antibody test, I did ask for the titer. And at that point, this would be in May of last year, they said we don't do the titer.
Not only that, you can do the IgM and IgG. That will give you how close were you to the infection and how further away for you from infection if you do not know that you have had a silent infection. So I think basically, I think a lot of information is lacking at this moment because of the panic that has taken the world.
Yeah, but also the time, it is only 1 year old. It's not
no, it's not only 1 year old.
But Sarojini's point, I think Maruf made the point, we had to take the vaccine as a collective effort, not only to protect yourself, but also to protect others. And that is a thing that we have to keep in mind and propagate, because there's so many myths, so many fear-mongering things that are going on. It's amazing. At least in the United States, the stories that are going around is truly amazing.
I only one other point I want to make is I thought Europe was a nice country until I heard today that Europe refuses to give in a pandemic, and they are trying to control because they are angry with UK. They are doing this. This is not the Europe that
have been revoked.
They have withdrawn it. They have withdrawn it.
They have revoked it.
They should revoke.
No, they have only revoked
the tragedy
they
is
have
this
revoked
happened to
only the
the
Northern
UK
Ireland blocker.
Wait, just go and send
Okay. Okay. Now, one last, we have gone over 2 hours. You are most welcome to go on. We can chat. But I just want to make one for next meeting. I'm trying to, we are going to try a futuristic meeting. We won't talk about COVID for next meeting. Maybe we'll talk in 2 months or 3 months time. So I'm trying to bring something else. And this is a guy who was named as a guy who will most likely change medicine when he was less than 40 years old. he was named as one of the 10 people who would make an impact in the practice of medicine by many years ago by a fellowship called Robert Wood Johnson Fellowship. So he's got some new ideas and he's doing some new stuff on how to diagnose and treat and keep people healthy. So it's going to be a different talk, I think. I don't know what exactly he's going to say, but I would advise, we have it on the 27th, right, Maruf?
That's what you said, because that is that is
20th,
our
he said
due date.
20th,
Due date is 27th.
Okay, so we'll stick to the 27th.
We
I will
try
try
to
and get
stick
him.
to the 27th.
Yeah.
But if he cannot, then we will get him 1 week earlier. It's okay. We will have to announce
all
it.
right.
So I think you will have to put in touch with
and also invite your friends or your spouses or anyone else who's interested in it to come, and we'll have a little.
I think we should individually, each one of you should contact as many as possible. As you realize, a lot of people didn't come for this one, unfortunately. But this is, I believe this was where we really felt the touch of worldwide touch of the whole coronavirus, because everybody had, like, for example, Vicky's comments at what he's feeling, what I felt here, and everything. And I think it's very important. It's very important. These worldwide meetings is very important.
Horse to water, you can't make it drink.
That's true.
I want to make one more comment. Narada Vijayatilaka was right about 3 months ago that herd immunity will be the one to take care of COVID. And now Maru says if 75% of us are vaccinated, herd immunity will take over the control.
True, that's true.
That's
true. Logically
But
and scientifically correct.
Narada's approach was a little different.
Yes.
He thought we should get
That's a
herd
big
immunity
difference.
by.
Big difference. Big difference.
You know that the problem is going to be for Vikramachandran, because they have closed the borders so tightly. Now they won't be able to open them. So the moment you open, you are going to get
key is taken out.
So they are going to give the vaccine now next month.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
They haven't bought the
They are
vaccine.
starting the vaccine.
No, we will be giving the vaccine. Vaccine. All the chaps who are coming in had to be vaccinated.
Arnian, one last suggestion.
And
I
all
think we should have
free vaccines.
we should have a karaoke session. We've been serious, man, all the time.
All right.
Excepting
Next
today,
time.
only when we remember Chellaya, Patrick Chellaya, we were a little bit light-hearted. Otherwise, we are talking about this damn coronavirus for the last
Karaoke session is fine.
Narada,
Narada is going to sing. Narada, you start off.
Narada,
with a song.
we had the Grand
Okay, all right.
More batchmates involved. Get more batchmates involved.
Yes, I will get nice Tamil and
Ranjit, can you get Lalita and Mary and?
I think this is very important. The Sri Lankans are lagging.
Mary doesn't want to join. She says it'll upset her computer.
I know. She's been saying that.
Most of them are technophobic.
Very quiet.
Can I just say that Nalin came for a short time. We didn't see him. But I remember initially they all met at Nalin's place, and Mary, Lali, and them were all there at that time. Some sort of an arrangement like that.
That was Nilani's birthday. I think it was Nilani's.
Anyway, we'll have a different program. I think something that is a little different from these very serious things. But next week we'll have the future of medicine kind of talk.
That's fine.
Yeah. And then after that we'll have a Bajo session. But
okay.
Karunian, who is the speaker for this? The name of the speaker?
Yeah, his name is Ruben Amarasingam. This is Bobby Amarasingham's son.
Okay.
You can go and look him up on the web. R-U-B-E-N, Ruben Amarasingam.
Ruben, R-U-B-E-N.
Yeah, and Amarasingam. Yeah.
Okay, everybody.
Okay, all right. Okay, take care.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Have a nice
Thank you.
Anyway, this is the first meeting for 2021. This is the first meeting of 2021. Remember that.
Thank you, Karunian and Maru, for arranging it. And
Narada, it was nice to see Charmaine there at the background.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't seen her in so long.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, ask her to come for the next meeting. Bring her on for the next meeting.
Okay, bye.
Aranya, thank you very much.
Yeah. What's
Anyway,
that?
anybody want to review? It is on the
3:15
YouTube.
in the morning.
Go to YouTube.
What's that? It's 3 o'clock in the morning for you.
3:15 now.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It is 7 o'clock. I had to get up at 5:30 today to come for this meeting. So only the British guys are
We got to
happy.
bed 1 a.m. So anyway, didn't go to bed. That's why.
Hello.
All right.
Anyway,
Okay.
we see you next time.
I will call you in 2
All right.
minutes because I'm just closing up one
Thanks,
minute.
Shanti.
Thank you.
for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
I will call you in 2
everyone.
minutes.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Nice seeing you, Saro. Say hi to
Yeah, you
Nihal.
too. You too.
Bye,
Good
Glory.
night.
Bye bye.
Bye, Glory.
Bye.
All the best.
Hello.
to
Bye,
you.
Shanti.
All the best.
Bye,
Maru,
Koda.
thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mayan. Mayan,
Bye,
Koda,
Benedict.
put Patrick's news on your email.
Koda. Bye.
Bye, Koda.
Koda,
Take care.
Koda is drawing.
put it on your email list. Patrick's passing away.
Okay.
Your email list.
Okay.
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 Take care, Koda.
Bye for now. We see you next time.
Bye for
Bye.
now.
Bye. Bye, Milroy.
Yeah, stay all
Milroy, you got
stay
your shot?
safe.
Milroy, have you got your shot,
Happy
Milroy?
Independence Day, 4th of February.
Okay.
Kill our bloody independence.
Forgot it. Huh?
Anyway, good for them.
I know.
So I'm leaving the meeting. All the
Yes,
best.
you could.
Thank you.
You could.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
God bless.
Bye
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Pial came twice over. He came 1 hour, 2 hours ago, and then he came back again. He's missing.
Can you see me?
Can't. Hey, Machan,
Can you see me?
You are there? Where's your picture?
Sorry?
I can't see your picture now.
Oh, I was in some problem with the phone.
Ah, right.
Sorry.
Okay. Try to connect through
Next.
the computer is better.
Yeah, I prefer to carry this, early in the morning, looking for this and that.
No, the
Anyway, I was
effectiveness.
listening to all these
Oh,
things. And
that's
I
good.
was,
That's good. You can always go and refer to the YouTube. Everything is there.
Yes.
All the discussions are there for the last
I
7
must
meetings.
thank, the Sri Lankan news also was very, very encouraging.
Yeah, very important. Yeah, that's true.
Actually, we should get together and thank the doctors there for doing a wonderful job with the limited resources and everything.
I think they have limited resources. That's true.
Yeah, with all that, the results are quite good.
They're
Very
doing good
impressive.
job. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay, Maru, I'll let
Okay,
you go.
thank you,
you
Majan.
all so much. Okay, bye.
Okay. Hey, Koda, bye.
Bye.
Okay. See you soon. I don't know who this iPhone is. There's an iPhone hanging around. Boom.